Ain't it beautiful? When we smile, it's a musical, an act of revolution, and the stage is a human one. Some people spend their lives wearing the...
My answer normally to that is I'm tired, but I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm healthy. Happy to be healthy more than anything. COVID in Detroit it's been a difficult year, right? 2020. But how am I doing? I'm doing better than I was yesterday. And I'm very, very busy. I'm blessed as an artist to be necessary right now. I think artists like myself that have always spoken about the times, right? Poets are the historians of the time. And so I'm one of those poets. My book, We Want Our Bodies Back, came out during the pandemic. And it's deep because I Can't Breathe is the name of one of the poems in the book. I didn't write that for George Floyd because George Floyd was still alive when I wrote this book. But here we are, right? So I'm good. It's a pull and tug. Every day, a friend of mine, I've lost some friends, and so I've had to really focus on self-care because I'm being asked to do a lot of appearances and to talk to people who are outside of African-American culture, trying to figure it out, trying to get it right, but on a lot of different multicultural type conferences and things where folks are trying to understand how they should feel and what they should be doing to contribute to make the world better. And so it's been some heavy lifting, in 2020 for me, to be honest, as a Black woman and as an artist that is actually about something. But I am so happy my mother is healthy. My immediate family is good. My son King is upstairs pretending to do homework. So I'm good. I'm balancing it all. Appearance-wise, I've been everywhere. I've done shows in Dubai, which was really amazing. I did shows in Brazil. So internationally, I did with Carl Craig. I did a huge UK techno festival, which was amazing. And so more film things have been happening. So the only live audience I performed in front of with a real audience was in Yellow Springs. So most of the pandemic, all summer, I've spent driving down to Yellow Springs to be with Talib Kweli, one of my best friends, and Dave Chappelle, Donnell Rawlings. These are all my boys from back in the day. I've known them 25 years. And Talib called you need to come to Yellow Springs. Dave's setting up a stage in the middle of a cornfield. And I had been out. I knew, of course, that Dave lived in Yellow Springs. Anytime I did shows in Dayton, he would come out and be like, "Where's Jessica? Where's Jessica Caramore?" He's so funny. But that became artist sanctuary this summer. It was to the point of tears if I really think about what we all did down there. Michelle Wolf is amazing. Chris Rock was there. I can't even explain it except that helped me get through this pandemic. So Dave asked me to perform. I was probably one of the first people. I was definitely the only poet besides Amir Suleiman who later came and did a piece. And I performed the poem I Can't Breathe. And I said, Dave, do you want me to do something heavy? This comedy, it's not funny what I'm talking about. He said, do you? And so I went out and did I Can't Breathe. Gave me a big hug afterwards. It was really beautiful, beautiful introduction. And so that's been my only big audience. Everything else has been filmed and lots of online, to the point that I don't think people know the wear and tear of online. But it has taken a bit of a toll on me where I become overwhelmed if I get too many text messages. And then I'm in Zoom, 4 or 5 Zooms in a day, So I didn't know. So I would just say yes in the beginning, oh, you want me to speak at this college? And I did so my book tour got canceled. My book was scheduled. Here's my book. Oh, my book came out March 30th. We Want Our Bodies Back. It's a big deal because, as you know, for years, I've been publishing my books through More Black Press. And I've been, anthologized well with bigger, more mainstream white publishing houses. But I decided to give this manuscript that was really important to me to HarperCollins Amistad. And they've done such a beautiful job. And so shout out to my agent, Regina Brooks. Shout out to Patrick Bass, my editor. Harper Amistad has just really, I never thought I'd be oh, I have a good publishing home, because I've been a publisher and such a snob about the whole thing. And really just not snobby, more independent and not wanting to give anybody my work. It's not because I didn't think I could get published. I like flipping my money. I'm from Detroit, so I be flipping books like fast. You know, and I'm used to like getting the books, selling the books, making my money, flipping books, making some more books. I mean, that's how I learned, to be honest, from watching the streets. And so I had to pull back from that, and I feel very grown up on HarperCollins and being taken care of well, and being able to focus on my writing in a different kind of way. But I had to shift gears because everything got canceled, and I set up my entire book tour myself because I've been doing this work for 25 years. I know how to get gigs, and money gigs, because the publisher's going to send you to the bookstore. Bookstores don't have any money. And I was like, I need to get the money, and then I can go to the bookstore for the love. So I set myself up on this huge, beautiful tour. Susan Taylor was hosting a private party for me in New York. It was going to be fabulous. I'm holding Susan Taylor to that party in New York when this COVID thing is gone for good. So I started doing an independent, Black-owned, woman-owned, revolutionary bookstore tour. And so I shifted gears. I was in Sankofa Books in DC, DC Bookshop in Dallas, Revolution Books in New York City, Source Booksellers in Detroit. Like any independent bookseller that I could talk to, I just said yes to. I did a bookstore in New Mexico. I did a bookstore in Chicago. These are all not Barnes & Nobles, not just the independent, strong, mostly Black woman or revolutionary-minded bookstore. And that was a labor of love, you know. It was just because I didn't want the book to go away. That We Want Our Bodies Back was written for Sandra Bland, and it was the title poem was for Sandra Bland, and so I couldn't let that poem disappear just because I couldn't tour it. And so I was very busy, you know. But right in the beginning of COVID, I was in shock. I mean, I lost so many people. I lost my friend Nikki Barksdale, and Marlo Stoudemire, and Brenda Perriman. I lost 3 of my very close friends within 2 weeks. And then it never stopped. And then my friend's father, Sabrina's father, died. Then my best friend Charlotte's sister, Maria, died. And it became so heavy that being able to serve, and because art is art. People don't remember that because you get money and you lose your mind. But artists we're a service to the people. I feel like that it's a service job. I make a living and I have to respectfully ask for money for my time. I had to learn how to do that, and I'm still at it. But it's definitely service work, and I knew I had something to offer, and it helped heal me. It helped me get me off the floor of my bathroom from crying, from feeling like complete inadequate, like what am I doing here? And then, I had to make a living. I have this beautiful 14-year-old boy, King, this young man that I'm raising, my Virgo son. And I needed him to, and I have a house that I own. I need to keep my mortgage paid. And so I mean, most of the pandemic has been a shift for me as an artist, but trying to figure out I mean, it really, this kind of a being by yourself will like make you really figure out who your friends are, what love means, it's been deep on a personal level, like the connections I've made because I'm on the ground and not on a plane every other day. I'm usually on a plane every week. You learn about yourself, and you learn about what's important, and I've had conversations with people that I wouldn't have been able to have conversations with that are invaluable conversations. That, wow, I'm so happy that I'm on the ground so I could connect with this person in a way that I never would have. And then there's me and my child who are together every day, who are driving each other nuts. So there's that. And it's like, oh my God, still being okay with taking mommy breaks. I mean, even if it's just to jump in the caddy and just go for a drive, sometimes I need a break. So it's been a deep time. And so I've been busy. So Kareem Riggins asked me to, I love Kareem Riggins. Shout out to Kareem Riggins in Detroit. He's one of my baddest drummers in the world, my favorite. And I was really lucky and blessed that he asked me to be on Head Nod Suite. And so I think I'm one of the few voices that's on that. Dope. If people haven't got Head Nod Suite and you're a hip hop head, you should get it, by Kareem Riggins. And he was trying to get me on a Common album years ago when I was in Shanghai, interesting enough. And I was like, I remember being in Shanghai, it was raining, I was writing something, and I don't know, it didn't work for the album for whatever reason. So he called me again, like, listen, Calvin's got this thing. I'm gonna call you with him on the phone. Y'all talk to each other and see what's up. And so he called me, Rashid called, talked about what Beautiful Revolution was. As soon as he started talking, within a couple of minutes of him explaining the concept, I was like, I got it. No, let me get off the phone so I could write this. And I literally wrote it the same night. Like I got off the phone with Kareem and Common, hung up the phone, and wrote the damn thing. And so it's so beautiful. But Kareem's music, I would like to do more with him. Like he kind of gets me, and his music inspires me. And so when he sends me music, it's not hard for me to write to it. So that's one of the things I've done. Me and Jeff Mills and Eddie Fowlkes put a huge record out during the pandemic called The Crystal City is Alive, which we didn't know a pandemic was going to happen. It was supposed to be released like early in 20 and we pushed it back. Okay, so it came out this summer, and that was a dream project. I mean, Jeff Mills, as you know, I'm a techno and house music head. And so, and I have a special connection. I like dancing to house music more, but I like the history of techno. It's such a revolutionary underground story. And Mike Banks is one of my favorite people in the whole world. And I always wanted to do a record with Mike, to be honest. And I've known all of them cats for a long time. And I recorded my album at Submerge Records. So the album Black Tea, The Legend of Jesse James that Talib put out in 2015, I did that live with my band at Submerge on the 3rd floor. I even talk about it in one of the songs. I'm on the 3rd floor of history. I'm every beautiful man's mystery. That's 3rd floor of history. That's Submerge, right? For people who know. And so Jeff Mills was just like this. He was in Paris. He was where all the places that he was. But I was like, Mike. So Mike introduced me to Jeff in passing at one of the movement festivals. So I mean, Jeff might have said hi. You know who the hell I was. But then thank you, Zaina. Jeff reached out and was doing some research, and he has a NASA radio station. Only Jeff Mills would have a radio station sponsored by NASA, like NASA, like the people that go to space. And so he called me because he usually picks an artist every season to do a collaboration with. And so that's the first thing me and Jeff actually did together was I got to know him. Zaina set up the call, just like we're talking now. And me and Jeff Mills got to talking about life and imagination and race and culture. And he went to Mackenzie and I went to Cody. It was kind of just as soon as that happened, as soon as the Mackenzie-Cody conversation happened, it was pretty much a wrap. Like we're about to be collaborators. And I find him fascinating, and he's a genius, and he's beautiful. He's been beautiful to my son. We were in Paris. We had dinner with him when we were in town the summer before the album even came out. And so it's been extraordinary to work with him, to be honest. And so, and Eddie Fowlkes, who I love as well, man, godfather of damn techno, so these are two legends. They talk about me the same way, but I'm always like, come on, y'all, stop it. It's this beautiful mutual admiration. We call ourselves the beneficiaries, it's because we benefit from everything our ancestors gave us. We benefit from their losses, from that bloodshed, from their survival, for that grit, that love that pushed us into the future, that got us into 2020, that sure in the hell is going to get us the hell out of 2020. Like that, I am hopeful, that things get better because of collaborations like that. And it's a futuristic piece. I mean, the Crystal City is alive. The Crystal City is Detroit. Just, the Crystal City is alive it's a line out of my poem. And Jeff said, that's the title. That's the album. And so that's been incredible. We wanted to perform though. So we haven't been able to do a show. I'm thinking that in 21, there's gonna be so many shows that was supposed to happen. And hopefully that will be one of them, so. The person that I want to work with and would like to record with, is Patti Smith. That is absolutely the person that I want to work with, that I'm working on meeting. And I would love to record a song with Patti Smith. I am working on a rock and roll record with Stephanie Christian. And we have a long overdue recording session that's gonna happen soon. And I have a song that's dedicated to Patti Smith called Rock and Roll Nigga, Nigga, which is a real controversial song when she of course put it out, she's a white woman. But I've always, I'm always compared to, and I should be, the writers of the Black Arts Movement. I'm a metaphorical daughter of Sonia Sanchez and Amiri Baraka, and Gil Scott-Heron was my Baba, the last poets. But I also align myself with Patti Smith just like I do with Alice Walker and Maya Angelou and Nikki Giovanni. And no one ever compares me to Patti Smith, and it irritates me. So I'm actually writing about it right now, because there's so many parallels. I was like, if I was a white girl doing poetry, rowdy activist, and was doing rock and roll and producing a humongous rock and roll concert for Black women or women in general, but mine is definitely for Black women, I think I would get compared to her. I think I would. And I think I'm not, just because she's a white woman. But I'm so damn Patti Smith. I'm so fucking Patti Smith. So anyway, so yeah, I'd like to work with her. I wanted to take a second to shout out, like, first of all, the sister that the struggle is a part of the story. That's Fatima. She's in Detroit. She sent me a sweatshirt, and so I just want to support her. And then my dear friend Booker Snow has a book, Journey to Love, and I promised that I would shout his book out. Get it. What I love about Booker and what he's doing with Journey to Love is that he is an East Side brother from Detroit that's writing about love. And normally I'm not into like love poems necessarily. I do love, but not necessarily I like read poems. But because they're coming from him, it's just an authentic, beautiful space. And so it's a really great book, and it's only like $7.99. So get poetry books, don't play. Buy my book, y'all, don't play. And yeah, that's it. You gotta promote other people. I love people that make stuff. My girl Liza Garza, she made this earring. You know, that's what it's about. It really is. It ain't about, if it's just you, it's not that interesting to me. You know what I mean? It's not. And shout out to Talib Kweli, who's got a book coming out in the new year. His memoir, Vibrate Higher, is coming out. So shout out to MCs that can write memoirs. That's dope.